They are all borrowed from the Bible. All borrowed from the Bible. By the government. So politics is justice, freedom. Freedom. What is freedom? Anybody? What is freedom? Oh, that's one of the words we use a whole lot. Will somebody explain to me or define what is freedom? Yeah? Are you free? Are you free?
They are looking at me because I asked the same question once.
Oh, you did? Then you are the person to answer it. You are the ideal candidate because you thought about it, right? So what is freedom?
How do you articulate?
Yeah, it's a good answer. Freedom is the opportunity to do the right thing, the right time, the right way, for the right purpose, with the right intention. That's what freedom. You change any one of them, it's slavery. Freedom is the opportunity to do the right thing. If a thing is right, then you must have the opportunity to do it right. At the right time. Going toilet is the right thing, but doing it here is wrong. An extreme example because you will understand it. A right thing can be done the wrong way. So if somebody do it, they say that no, you don't have the freedom to do that in our living room. See? For the right purpose, yes. For the right purpose. If the purpose is wrong, the purpose has to be right. Purpose governs your motivation sometimes. The right way. There are a wrong way of doing a thing, the right way of doing a thing. So, freedom is that. Government is there to protect this freedom of the citizen. They must be able, they must be free to do, they must have the opportunity to do what is the right thing. Who decides what is the right thing? The Bible decides, because that's part of the ethics. The government also make you, driving 60 kilometers, speed limit, 70. Government can make it 100 or 120. When 120 is posted, if somebody writes at 200, it's not freedom. It's a misuse of freedom. No. So, governments are there to safeguard the freedom of the people. And church is also to safeguard the freedom of the members. God has given you certain gift. You must have opportunity to exercise that gift, right? But that doesn't mean that every time, at the right time, the right way. Somebody stand up, somebody, start preaching, he also stand up, God has given me also the gift of preaching, so he's also start preaching, and the third person also, no, you don't have, that's not freedom. That's what was happening in Corinth. So Paul said that, you need to have certain restrictions, certain manners to do it, certain guidelines to do it. So governments are there to, safeguard, the law is there to safeguard, the politics, the government is to safeguard justice, freedom and order. There is order. Yes. We are driving and, the traffic congestion. There is no order there. Auto rickshaw people will go like this, bike people will go like this. Is there order? No, they have drawn lanes. You're supposed to keep the lane. Some will be half of your vehicle on that lane, half of the vehicle on this lane. There is no order. There should be order everywhere. In the home there should be order. You go to certain home, how orderly things are done. You go to some home, there's confusion. Things that should be in the bathroom or in the living room. Things that are in the living room, sometimes in the bathroom. There's a confusion. Confusion. Some of these modern paintings sometimes convey that, I don't understand modern paintings, I love to watch paintings and all that. Sometimes, the feet is up there on the head. And eye is down. So I told somebody, what is this? I'm confused. That's what it is. That's what it is. Confusion. Drawing confusion, Then there is economics, What produces sound economy? What produces sound economy? Oh yes, economics is very, very important. You don't have to be an economist to talk about economy, but you need to know what produces sound economics. Yes, the ratio between demand and supply. If demand is more, the supply is less, the price will shoot up. There are only 10 X and 20 people to buy it. So what? The seller will look at them and say that, standard price is 5, say 10 rupees per egg. Who wants it? But if the supply is more, the whole load of eggs came to the market, only one person to buy. How long you will keep it? So the supply and, supply side and the demand side has to go. Yes. And there are many, many principles, many, many principles. There are great, great economists, since you are all basically engineering and all related, you may not know some of these great names. Every year, somebody gets a Nobel Prize for economics. They all come up with the new theories of economics. Yes. New theories of economics. But so far, nobody has solved the problem. Because hoarding is there. You think onion immediately disappeared from the market? That the price came up to 100? No, it didn't disappear. Hoarding. Sugar prices go up, then come down. Now everything come down because the election is coming. Government wants to make sure that people have plenty of things in their hands, otherwise they won't vote. And then, sometimes the agriculture minister wants to make sure that, the sugar prices will shoot up so that they do all those things. So what makes a sound economy, Basically say the Bible has the answer: stewardship of property. Stewardship of property. This world and all it contains belongs to whom? God. God has given it to whom? Man. With certain principles. We need to take care of it properly. We have to pay God's portion. We have to pay government's portion. We have to pay parents' portion. We have to pay poor people's portion. We have to pay, and all that thing, and then we can use. So that's the way it should be. That's what stewardship is. How much a man should make? You all working, how much you should make? As much, Now what's the formula?
Demand-supply ratio.
Demand supply, making money, what there is demand for money and supply of money.
More money, more than your needs. That's what is today.
More than your needs. So why you need money more than your needs? So how you going to decide your needs?
Yeah.
Well, I will always say that how much money a person make, enough for his and his family's survival, plus the Lord's portion, plus the poor man's portion, plus a little saving. Bible teaches that. That much everybody should make. What is the Lord's portion? How much? 10%. So if God gives you 100 rupees, you will keep 90 and give 10 to God. Oh, that doesn't sound fair. No, in the Old Testament it was at least 33%. At least. It could be more than that. So under the law, if it were 33%, what should be under the grace?
That is 3.1.
So we say because we are under grace, God will
Gracious. God will be gracious.
lenient. Yeah, no. Start with 30. Well, I'm not saying you start with 30, but that's the biblical standard. So your aim at least should be as soon as possible to come to this 30%. As soon as come to. If you cannot start immediately with 30, start with whatever is possible. Because Bible, New Testament does not fix any percentage. As a man decides. But you know that the Lord has a principle. He gives the seed only to those who sow plus food. That's how I said that. He gives the seed to the sower and also food to eat. So Lord's supply formula is that how much you sow plus how much you need for your needs. So the more you sow, the more you will get in your hand because He will give. So that's a formula, God's formula. The more you sow, if you sow 40%, the Lord will give that plus your need. Your need will never suffer because you have sown. No. Harvest is directly proportional to soil. And Lord promised that He gives the seed to the sower and the food to eat. Yes. So learn and practice. If you fix it at 10%, you are defeating yourself. Yes, you are defeating yourselves. So economics is very important. It teaches this principle of stewardship. Property is given to you as a trust. You are holding it for the Lord. And Lord is asking you to spend it for His purposes. Just like in the Old Testament. You know the history of Israel? They were not giving to God. And so there was no rain. There were locusts. Wild animals were trampling down their vines and fig trees. And they were afflicted by diseases. So the doctors have taken away a good part of their money. They were putting in pots with holes. It was not there. So that should not have happened to Christians. That should not happen to Christians. Our economics is a stewardship. Whatever I have is given to me by the Lord to hold it as a trust. I can use it a portion for me. But if I use it all for my own purpose, then it's not good stewardship. So our economics is very, very reasonable. Very, very reasonable. Then what is history? What is history? What is the question in history? How should we interpret human events? How should we interpret human events? A lot of things are happening in this world every day. Every day. How should we interpret it? There are wars and people are killed in wars, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, and there are floods, forest fires, locusts. So many things are happening. So many things are happening. People hating people, abortion, killing the infants. There's a lot of things, mercy killing. Yes. Lot of things are happening in this world. Yes. So the question is, how should we interpret all these events? And those with the right Christian worldview say that in the context of His story, the story of Jesus Christ, that's how we interpret. Jesus Christ came to this earth as a man and He lived. He had shown everything, how to relate it to government, how to relate it to society, how to handle money, how to explain the events of this world and everything. He had shown us how history is to be recorded. Exactly like that. Last week I think I mentioned H.G. Wells, did I?
Yes, sir.
Yes. H.G. Wells and is a atheistic historian, a great historian indeed. His classic work, World History in 8 volumes, they deserve attention and reading because it's the most thorough work. It doesn't go to the modern history because H.G. Wells lived, a couple of hundreds of years, at least 100 years back, so it comes only up to that position. But then his thesis is what? The history of the world is the story of the conflict. Basically the story of the conflict. The Hegelian theory will call it the thesis, antithesis and synthesis, Yes, that's what it is. It's always that conflict. That's what Marxism comes on. Dialectical materialism, they say that. So he has come somewhat, H.G. Wells has adopted that approach, dialectical materialism, Karl Marx borrowed it from Hegel. Of course, Hegel and Karl Marx together authored the Communist Manifesto and the Das Kapital and all those things. So why did they say that? They say that when the industry grows, there will be more employees, right? Then what the employees will do? The employees will get together. The unions will be formed. And then the unions and the capitalists, the owners, the property, they will have a conflict. In that conflict, because of the numerical growth is on the part of the employees, they finally will take over all the properties. So, then that becomes the new, thesis. So then again it will grow. It will be trade unionism that is ruling. Then what happened? Trade unionism and the state government will have a conflict. Then the state government will take over it. So it goes like this, back and forth, and the thesis becomes then the antithesis, a new synthesis, other synthesis becomes the thesis, again an antithesis coming and going and all. So they said that the world, socialistic, communistic society, classless society will come. The only thing that went wrong is it never happened. Wherever capitalism was there, in America, in France, and in Germany and all, communism didn't come. Where did communism come? Where poverty was. See that? The whole dialectical materialism collapsed. Their theory completely went wrong. Completely went wrong. So, H.G. Wells and others, true, they have interpreted the events of the history in a dialectical materialistic fashion, but wrong. Then came Arnold Toynbee, another historian who is a believer in God. I'm not saying he's a Christian, a born-again Christian, I don't know. But he's a theistic historian, whose thesis was the history of the world can be interpreted only according to man's reaction to God's, law and God's ethics and God's morality. When a society obeys it, that society advances. When a society rebels, that society suffers it. So we have this combination. Some societies, they respected God's law, so they prospered. The same society, after some times, they rebelled, so they suffered. Take the example of Israel. When Israel obeyed God's laws, they were flourishing, prospering. When they have disobeyed, they went down. That's true. That's the only way you can interpret history. So, having the right worldview, it affects our existence and how we see things, how we understand things, how we respond to money, how we respond to people, how we respond to government, how we respond to everything, even the employment, everything. We needed to teach our young people this worldview, then only they can be successful. We are now raising up a generation of people who have no understanding of Christian worldview. So they are living like pagans and they are behaving like pagans. And the next generation will be a bunch of pagans with a little title here, Christian. There is a breed of dog called, Saint Bernard. You see Saint Bernard? Oh, they're very good dogs. Very expensive here. You need air-conditioned room and all to maintain them, but they're big dogs, they're nice dogs. And there was a seminary, created by somebody. They were offering, had ordinations and degrees by mail. If they sent so much, you sent $5,000 or $1,000, you will get whatever degree you want, doctorate and all, anything, or you want an ordination certificate. So one man had the idea, he filled up an application for name Saint Bernard. Finally an ordination certificate came, so he hanged it on the neck and said, Saint Bernard has now become Reverend Bernard. My fear is that these Christians are going to be like that. Next generation, Instead of having the right biblical worldview, they are having the pagan worldview. So Saint Bernard becomes the Reverend Bernard. No, it doesn't work that way. We need to educate our children for God's sake, for our nation's sake, for our family's sake. Why abortions are increasing, why divorces are increasing, why all these things? What's happening in the streets of Mumbai, A young lady was going out, Esther. We don't know all the real story, but she was taken and her body was then found. Why? I have read that over 10,000 people every year are missing in Bombay. Over 10,000. And a good number of them unidentified bodies laying here and there. Why? We had society from Adam and on. We never had it. Even though the world didn't have the Christian worldview everywhere, they had the influence of the Christian worldview. There was a time when the whole Europe had Christian worldview, America had Christian worldview. Now the whole Europe is anti-Christian worldview. It's called the post-Christian era in Europe. There are more mosques and more Hindu temples in Europe than church buildings. Some of those famous church buildings are converted to mosques and temples. Our worldview is changed. Once upon a time there were white men here, they were missionaries, they were changing the worldview of the people. Now there are people walking in our streets. What are they doing? They are going to a place in Idiki because ganja or marijuana is cheap there. You can see them lying down under the tree after smoking. Sometimes no clothes, nothing. India is wonderful country. See the change? Yes. In America today, in the classroom, you cannot carry a Bible, you cannot say a prayer, you cannot read the Bible. But you can have yoga there, you can have Hare Krishna movement there, you can have all these things there. The Christian worldview they have thrown through the window. So what's happening? Students carrying guns to the schools and shooting 18, 20. Boom, boom, boom. Bible is replaced with guns. So instead of love, they get bullets in their hearts. This is happening. This is going to come to this country very soon. Very soon. Teachers are no more respected. Even children are not loved by teachers, There was a time when teachers means what after parents, teachers. When I was a child, the subject was either Madhur Bhakti, Pitur Bhakti or Guru Bhakti. Now what is Guru Bhakti? Nobody knows even what is that. There are gurus now. Sri Sri and all kinds of gurus. But they are no more teachers. They are businessmen who trade in spirituality, exploit people. That's what they do. See the change? What are we going to do? Keep silent? I believe it is already late for us to move and act. The society is going to terribly suffer. We need definitely to act. So Christian worldview is very important, You have any questions? We have very little time. You definitely have some questions to ask. In the coming days, we'll take one by one of these 10 areas and go into some depth and see. You have any questions? No questions?
So, Uncle,
Yeah.
finally, what's the strategies to follow?
The strategy to follow is first of all formulate, get educated in the right Christian worldview. The church has to do it. The elders of the church, the leaders of the church, the preachers of the church, and every church may not be able to do, but we will have conferences. We'll have camps and conferences where our people will be educated in what is the right worldview and how to teach our children with this worldview. How we ourselves first correct our worldview, then only we can teach. Because teaching is, more by example. So we need to begin to act. We need to communicate. When people live contrary to the worldview, the church needs to, go into their homes and counseling and first correction and counseling, exhortations and sometimes rebuke and, and all those things needs to be there. And if people are not living consistently with the Christian worldview, we should definitely take action against them. Because they will be violating one of these areas. If it's ethic, it's law, it's morality, whatever area. We need to. Now everybody is free. Free like a goose in a bush to do what they want. Nobody can ask anybody anything. The favorite phrase is mind your own business. That's what people say, mind your own business. We have to say that, yes, I'm minding my own business. Making you straight is part of my business. Yes, that's a God-given business. Yes.
In the education system nowadays, mostly now secularism is added. Books in history teaches about Buddhism, Jainism, Islam and everything, and children go through that subjects. So how do we tackle that? Similarly, the science teaches about evolution.
Yes.
How do you tackle this whole thing from a history perspective?
Yes. I must sound like an unreasonable revolutionary person, but I think that time has come when, before the teachers teach the lesson, parents have to teach that lesson at home. Get it? Before the teachers will teach a lesson, parents have to teach that lesson at home and teach the right thing. If there is evolution, we cannot immediately pull all our children from the school and all, that's not. We cannot immediately, change the textbook, but we can teach our children and say that this is not truth. This is lie. So every lesson, I think the parents have to teach them. Parents have to take more responsibility. Mothers quit going to work, take the responsibility of teaching their children. If God has given you children, your primary responsibility to raise up your children right. Let men go and earn the living. They are the breadwinners. You may have to let go some of the comforts of life, but the essentials of life will all definitely you will need. Your children will be much better. Now parents have no interest in their children. They are sent, a backpack and some food and all, So somebody definitely. 1 minute. Hello, Joseph. ഞാനൊരു ക്ലാസ് എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കേ. Okay. So we need to, My parents take no interest in their children's studies. They either send them to a tuition master, what do they teach there? The same thing. And after, studying a couple of lessons on evolution, you talk in the family time about God and children have no interest.